Hey everybody, we are back with a new episode of Call Time Atlanta, our very first ever podcast. I'm so excited. I'm picking the show up again after a bit of a hiatus, but I've got some wonderful guests on the show with me today, and we're expecting more to come. Today I've got Sherrie Peterson here. She is an actress, director, writer, producer, singer, and she serves a hell of a coffee. I'm going to invite you over to my house just for the coffee. Awesome. And I also have Brandon Thaxton. You are a director, producer, and you develop young talent. And I read your bio, and you have been extremely busy. You have accomplished so much in your career, and we're going to talk all about that. So welcome to episode 10 of Call Time Atlanta. Glad to have you guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Brandon, let's start with you, and I wanted to just say the things you've done and the people you've worked with, it seems like you've accomplished a lot in your career so far, and I don't know your age, you don't have to tell us, but
I'm 27. I'm under 30.
So under 30,
still enjoying it.
And you've accomplished a lot under 30 so far, and that's fantastic. So how did you get started in this business?
I got started in this business. Typically, I think how everybody else gets started as an actor. Mm-hmm. I was working with Joy Purvis, signed to Joy Purvis after working with John Robert Powers. Mm-hmm. And after Joy got me booked with Robert Townsend's Black Family Channel, and I had 2 shows there. Lisa Night in the Round Table and $1,000 B. We were going on the road and film the show. And then from there, I got into the theater program at Tri-Cities High School, the high school I went to. Mm-hmm. And kind of from there, it just kind of built. Yeah. I was very interested in entertainment. I was very interested in performing because of, I guess, the start of my life, dealing with the childhood problems that I had. This was a place for me to exhaust all of that. When I woke up, I thought about it. I did something to contribute towards acting or directing and just kind of developed my career from there.
You remind me of Irony Singleton. I had him on the show.
I love him.
And yeah, his story is fascinating. And it's one of the video episodes we did earlier. And his story, he makes it very public. He doesn't, hold anything back really. And he talked about some of his background. I'm not saying it's the same with you, but you just remind me of what he was talking about and how he overcame what he grew up with.
I was born in New Jersey, but I'm from the south side of Atlanta, College Park, East Point. Mm-hmm. And growing up in that area, you have a choice to do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You can grow up in the streets and stay in the streets, or you can grow up in the streets and bring stuff back to the streets to teach others how to grow up and get out of the streets. Mm-hmm. And I really had the opportunity to kind of veer away from the streets and bring some education back to the streets, Like even now, I hire people from
your neighborhood?
Yes, yeah. I do.
Great.
And get them kind of involved into something like this, or maybe it might get them into DJing or something like that. But, just having a medium in order to get self out sometimes is it means a lot. They don't teach that in school.
Well, I totally believe that the gift that we have as artists and specifically actors is one of it's therapy. Yes. It's therapy on so many levels. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's expression. Yes. It's connection.
Yes.
It's digging down into the well that is within us and learning how to sift through the emotions and all of the experiences and to use that in the art of storytelling.
Yes.
And I think that's...
And I'm real big. Every time I ever do anything, if it's a show or if it's something like this, I always say, whatever you want to do is possible. Mm-hmm. Anything, point blank period, is possible. Mm-hmm. It's about having a clear vision of what you want, putting positive thoughts into it, and putting positive actions into it. And if you want to hold the world in your hand, that's possible.
Yeah. There was a time where you're bringing up a lot of memories for me now, so thank you. They're good memories, too. And back when I lived in Rochester, I'm from Rochester, New York, and there was a time when I was really struggling financially, just like I didn't know what I wanted to do with my job, and I wasn't very good at saving money and stuff like that.
Yes.
And, my dad came over to my apartment one day, I don't know, to help me out with something or other. I'm getting all choked up. No, my dad came to my apartment one day, and he was helping me out, and he saw that I was just really upset that day. And I just remember him stopping and looking at me and saying, Pamela, you can do whatever you want. If you just put the brains that God gave you into it, you can be whatever you want to be. And at the time, it does get me a little choked up to talk about it because they've supported me through thick and thin, and a lot of thin, a lot of trouble. But at the time, I didn't believe him. And looking back, now I get.
You get it.
Yes.
You get it.
Yeah.
And you make it happen. That's why we're here.
Right.
Like, this is your vision. Like, you envisioned this. And you believed it. And you put positive thoughts into it. And just even kind of walk into the room, it's just like, ooh, nice.
Yeah.
You know, cool.
And more importantly than any of the vision and the dream, you actually took action.
Eventually.
And because I think that's the place where a lot of people get stuck.
Yeah.
It was a sticking place for me for a long time. And, I had all these ideas. And some people will fall back on, I'm just an idea person. I couldn't actually do it. Well, actually, yeah, you can.
But you have to be disciplined about it. That's the thing, is I think of myself more as an idea person, even though I've had a career in the business world. I've had a career that's very detail and action oriented, and you cannot accomplish anything unless you put it into action.
I think it's interesting that you drew that analogy, that you've been able to do that in the business world, but in terms of your creative career, it hasn't always moved forward as quickly. And I've been discussing things with some friends of mine about this subject. I think that the career that we're in, because it is so comparison oriented, that we see ourselves and we look at the people that we admire and that we aspire to be like, and we know that we're not anywhere close to that now, so we compare. And comparison is the thief of creativity. And it will stop creativity in its tracks if you are so focused on another person and watching what they're doing and stalking them on their IMDb and I mean I'm everybody
would
They
ever
would
do
take
anything.
that energy and put it into being creative and doing what you want to do, not somebody else's vision.
Exactly.
You're going to be so much more successful.
You be you and do you and do it awesome, because you're the only one that can do you.
Only person.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, Sherrie, you recently got an MFA.
Yes, I did.
Tell us why you did that and what you hope to accomplish in your career.
Okay. Well, I am 45 years old, and I know I told the world, and so
brave woman.
Yes, as I've gotten older and working as an actor, as we go through those different age shifts, sometimes the opportunities are fewer. And so I decided that as I got older, I'd wanted to have another opportunity in addition to the things that I was doing independently and just creatively on my own. I thought it would be really great to be able to invest into others and their goals and their dreams and their learning. It is a performance degree. And
where did you get that done?
I got it in Virginia at Regent University.
Okay.
You have to audition to get into the program, and I was accepted, and it was a very comprehensive conservatory environment, and live, breathe, eat acting. And it was awesome. I loved it.
How long of a program is that?
It is 3 years, and there are MFA programs that are 2, but this one was 3. Okay. And I learned a ton. I mean, believe it or not, I had 2 years of stage combat training. So, in rapier and dagger and broadsword and unarmed combat. And I learned just a broad spectrum of things that I could teach to others. And, as a result, I could teach on the collegiate level. And obviously what I'm doing now is teaching privately and at some of the studios in Atlanta, and enjoying that so much.
Can I hire you as like a bodyguard or something?
That's funny. No, I would not be of any assistance in that case.
Actually, I wanted to ask you about that point you made about there being fewer opportunities for women as we get older.
Yeah.
And so what, I guess, advice or wisdom could you share? I know one thing that I hear often is produce your own material. Mm-hmm. What else can we do as women?
Well, I think that's a great question, and I'm right there with you, because the compulsion that we have when we're actors to tell stories is something that never goes away. Mm-hmm. And we'll be those little old ladies in rocking chairs with all the talking to our cats. But
I already talked to my cats.
I know. But it's a compulsion that you must do, and it's hard to be dependent on other people to give you those opportunities.
Yeah.
Because we just need to be more active in seeking out things that we could do for ourselves. And so I encourage people to write their own material, produce it. If they don't have the equipment, team up with somebody who does, and start your own production company, and just produce your own content.
So you also do writing, and I know that was in your bio too. Mm-hmm. You're multi-talented. I'm just amazed. When I read your bio, I'm like, wow, I just aspire to half of that, what you've accomplished. And you can sing, which I'm completely jealous of. But
well, I think what the arts draws things out of people, because when you, that goes back to something you had said, we've talked about this a lot, being a storyteller. It's you're not always the one in the spotlight.
Right.
You if you want to tell a story, sometimes you're the one, behind the camera or setting up chairs. Because when you want to be a part of creating a story, you don't really care, oftentimes, what you do. And I think that's a really great perspective to have. Yeah. Unfortunately, as we get older, a lot of times that gets jaded, and we begin to, want more for ourselves. And it's important to fight against that. And just remember that it's really not about us, it's about the story. The thing about acting is, and I see this in a lot of aspiring actors, and I mean, it's prevalent in people who are already at the top of their game. When they do become so self-focused and self-centered that it not only, it can paralyze a person, and it can paralyze any efforts that they're making toward, a successful career. But I think one of the things that happens is a person that becomes, I don't want to label everyone as narcissistic, but it is a narcissistic quality when you can't look outside of yourself and you do become too introspective. I once had the opportunity to hear a talk back after a movie premiere, and it was the actors and then the producer, who just happened to be one of the executives at 20th Century Fox. And I had to leave early, and he had already spoken and was standing in the back of the room, and the only door that I could leave out of was right next to where he was standing. So I strategically had my business card in hand, and as I left the room, he was gracious enough to open the door for me, and I handed him my business card, and I said, I would serve coffee to be a part of what you're doing.
Nice.
And he said, thanks. And he took my card, and the next day he called me. And that has opened doors for me as a producer, and on opportunities that I otherwise would have never had. Yeah. Because why? Because I saw myself. Well, first of all, he told me, he said, I appreciated your humility, but I didn't see myself as some great aspiring actress that now had the opportunity to have a second of this man's time. So let me show you everything I have. Right. But yet, instead, let me serve. Let me be part of what you're doing. Let me just help tell the story. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Great. I love that. Oh, I want to let this conversation go wherever it wants to go, but I do want to cover some specific things. So, Brandon, you have projects on BET and MTV, variations of MTV channels. So talk about some of the recent projects that you've had on those channels.
Well, honestly, I've done music videos. They run on there, from 2 Chainz and the Urban Market kind of thing. And then I just also finished Sunday Best. And this is my 3rd season. I'm not sure if it's the last one, but I think it's the 3rd season where I story produce. And of course, that's a BET show. I've worked on other different projects. But to be honest with you, I'm at a point right now where I don't want to do network television anymore. I don't necessarily want to be hired onto somebody's show. I want to create from scratch. I want to build from scratch. We're in the time and place where we're able to do that now. It doesn't cost me $100,000 to go get a camera. It doesn't cost me $1,000 per roll of film. I can use my phone and my mind and creativity in order to do what I want. So that's kind of like where I am right now. And that's kind of like how I started acting up. Acting up is a talent development. Oh, I'll wait. You want me to wait?
No. Go ahead. I was just going to say I have that you started the talent development business as well. So
yeah, I've been working in, like I said, my start was with John Robert Powers, where I really got into the acting thing. And it cost a lot of money for my dad.
Yeah.
Because I was younger at the time. And I went through the program, stopped going through the program, got into theater arts and really got into it and understood what JRP really was. And went to school and came and ended up dropping out of school. And they called me to come teach. So when I went to go teach, this was when the economy started to crash. So they had to send people on the road. So I was the first person they sent on the road. I was 18 when I started teaching. 17 or 18 when I started teaching. And it was the best fulfillment I ever have had in my life working with a child, working with kids, because they don't have the blocks. Like, they don't care what people think.
No filter, no insecurities yet.
And it taught me so much.
Fear.
No fear. And it taught me so much and made me feel okay. So, I did that for years. I did it for all these different companies like that. But recently, it's been a year since Acting Up has been up and going, and it's doing really well, looking at moving into a new facility. And
where are you located now?
Off of Howell Mill.
Okay.
Yeah, Buckhead area.
Yep.
But it took the last few trips that I made out of town to work for these other companies to understand that I could do it for myself, and I could do it better, and I could do it for a better purpose. And currently, we're working with kids, and our slogan is building confidence and careers. And some of these kids are able to order their own food now when they go to the restaurant. Look at somebody in the eye when they speak. And on the other side, I got kids that just did a Boys and Girls Club commercial and did a movie down south and, really getting them into the industry. And it's full circle. Because when you see a kid have the same moment that you had 13 years ago now, it's like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's cool, the whole BET and MTV, and I've done stuff for other channels too. But it's a bigger picture to that,
Right.
I think in this industry, kind of like what you were saying, it's such and such is such and such. You work with such and such and such and such. It's to the point where I work with so many different celebrities that it doesn't matter. They're people.
Right. They are.
You meet plumbers. You meet actors. You meet construction people. They're people. So it's like, what's the overall mission? What's the purpose behind what you're doing? Is it to be in the starlight, or is it really to actually help this field move forward, or a person move forward, or something to be more positive, or to grow in a positive direction? So, I don't know.
And I do think that that's something that's so significant that you are there even at a young age, youngish. You're younger than me, and I consider that young. So I think that it takes people a long time to get there. Oftentimes, that they chase that bunch of carrots, out there they think that what they want is fame and fortune. But a very good friend of mine who you had the chance to meet and be coached by, Tony Hale, he is an Emmy Award winner, and he has made such an impact on me, not just personally because we're friends, but the things that he's encouraged me professionally by saying that, there was a time in his life where he was working as a commercial actor, making such, great success in that field. He just wanted something more. He thought, if I could just get my own sitcom, then that would be my dream. And he just will tell you, just like he'd tell anyone, that once he got it, once he got Arrested Development, that feeling was still there. And there was a feeling of like, wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
I want
and
more.
Yeah, well, and and then he said, so I had to come to a point of reckoning where I realized, everything that I needed, I already had.
Yeah.
And nothing material or and even in this field, I mean, nothing can satisfy.
Right.
Can't satisfy self.
No,
Can't
no. You
satisfy
have to
that.
be content. And
This has to satisfy
right,
it.
right. By the way, this is just a little plug for his book. He's got a great book out there, a children's book called Archibald's Next Big Thing, and it is it's a beautiful book that actually takes that concept of being content. And realizing that we've got to stop searching for the next big thing. Mm-hmm. We have to be present where we are, and content, and still be on our journey forward. But it's about the people that we're with right now, this moment. I got to stop thinking about, who I'm going to meet and greet and catch eyes with across the room in the next, 20 minutes.
Right.
It's be present.
And I love that you both have different approaches to the same thing of giving back to the community and serving a purpose outside of yourself. Mm-hmm. I love that. I feel like it's so refreshing to meet people that truly, genuinely want to make the world better.
But this is what you're doing, because she says that and it goes straight through this little microphone to this little system and goes out to all these people.
That's true.
And without you, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So you're on the same mission right now.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you. I hope
Yes.
to do that. I aspire
Overlapping
to do
circles.
that.
There
Yes.
we are.
Sherrie.
Yeah.
Okay. Doctor of Humanity. Self-described Doctor of Humanity.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to know you in the past several months. I've taken classes with Sherrie and a practical aesthetics class. What is that? What is practical aesthetics? What's that all about?
Well, practical aesthetics is a technique that was developed by David Mamet and William H. Macy, and they have a school in New York called the Atlantic School. And the technique is it's Meisner derived, if you know anything about acting technique, but it is just the whole idea of taking simple playable actions and applying them to scene work. And I guess, short of giving a big workshop spiel right now, I'll give you this metaphor. I love this image, and it helps to explain the whole concept behind practical aesthetics. A scene within a movie or a play or whatever is imagine a canoe. And the actors are the people in that canoe, or the people in the canoe are the actors. And the canoe sits on a river, and the water is the action. It's what we call the essential action. It's probably not that great of a experience just to float on that river. We'd like to move down the river. So the thing that actually makes that boat move is the current beneath the surface, and that is what we call the as if. It is what that essential action or that purpose of the scene means to me. It is a personalization, a particularization, and that's a nutshell, explanation of this technique. But my goal in using that technique is through scene work to just help actors realize the things that already lie within themselves that they can use to bring truth to a scene by playing an action that could be played a million different ways with a million different tactics. But you, Pamela, will play that action unique to only the way you can, because you are coming at it from your own individual self. Right. And so we try to identify the things that are unique inside of us, the as-ifs that lie in the imagination, not necessarily the memory, but the imagination of what it would be like as if this was happening in my life. Yeah. And so that helps connect us emotionally to the action. And when we're connected emotionally through something that's personal, it is truthful in the scene.
And I think you can tell most of the time, maybe not always, but I think you can tell when someone has that connection and when they don't.
Oh, yeah.
Watching them work. And you have also founded many theater companies, I think all over the world.
Yeah. I've actually been so fortunate to have that opportunity.
So do you have any that are, well, talk about some highlights from those companies, maybe one or two.
Yeah.
And are any in operation now here in Atlanta?
Well, actually starting some new things in Atlanta, but those are not exactly in full fruition yet. So be on the lookout for something soon coming. We're actually beginning to pull together some original content and some award-winning content as well to put together some opportunities and performing. But some of the highlights, I was part of a company that I helped found called Kingdom Productions out of Florida, and but was able to travel all over the world with them. One of the more exciting things that I did was, I believe it was I think it was 2004, in the middle of the Orange Revolution in Kiev, Ukraine. We opened a show, and it was several hundred people involved, and we had, we had shipped costumes and set pieces. We had, it was a big investment, and it was pretty amazing having even just the opportunity. I directed through Russian interpreters, and that was interesting.
Sounds very interesting.
But the thing that was so inspiring about that was that amidst all of the chaos politically and socially that was happening in that city, it was basically a tent city that it was set up in downtown Kiev, and people were they were demonstrating, and I think, I don't know if you even remember this, but there was a presidential candidate that was poisoned. There's danger. There's all kinds. So we were there. And we said,
how did you end up there?
Well, it's kind of a long story, but just people who wanted us to come and produce something there. Okay. And over time, it took quite a while to actually get to that point, but it had been in rehearsal for several months before we even arrived to stage it. And so when we got there, we said, look, the country's kind of freaking out here. Do we want to go forward with this? And they said, oh, yes, absolutely. We need to perform. So, people who are just committed to, what did they say? The show must go on. Right? Wow. That was a pretty exciting experience. I was there for 2 weeks. The show ran for a little over 2 weeks. And the company that we helped establish there is still in operation today.
Great. Wow. I'm just hearing these stories. It's the things that you can accomplish when you want to do it.
Well, art inspires.
Yeah.
It inspires people to do crazy things too.
That's true. No comment. Brandon, Curveball is your first feature-length film, and you said a moment ago that you were more focused now on developing talent and giving back to the community in that way. Do you want to continue to go forward with producing and directing feature films as well? Is that in your plan?
I'm in the business that ain't gonna stop. I'm producing the Neighborhood Awards right now. I'm producing a show out in Louisiana right now. I'm going out to New York, Los Angeles in the next 2 weeks, next week and the week after, shooting a TV show out there. I don't stop. Stay busy. Okay. And then hopefully when I get 30, maybe I can 35. We talking.
Then
retirement.
your knees will start hurting. Your
yes,
back
and
will
I can pay for it to get fixed. We'll buy new knees. No, but that's something that I'm not going to stop. I'm actually working on my next feature film right now. Okay. I've secured funding, the whole 9. It's almost go time. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but that's something that I'm not going to stop doing. The ultimate combination of what I would want to do, what I would wake up and do. Acting Up will run on its own and do its own thing, but I would love to do another Little Rascals. I would love to do another kids films. That's all I want to do. That's all I ever want to do for kids films. I want to do the fantasy films. I want to go all the way. Yeah. At the end of the day, that's ultimately what I want to do.
Yeah.
Period.
You have boundless energy. I want Sherrie's singing ability, and I want your energy. And I will be complete.
Energy too.
We'll talk a little bit about Curveball then. Since it was your first feature.
Yes, Curveball was my first feature. We filmed like 2 years ago.
2 years ago, man.
Yes.
That's
he's the
our-
man. He was
for-
actually in the film.
Yeah, and,
yes.
and just for anyone listening who didn't hear that that fourth voice already, that's JP. He runs Actor Taping Services, which is where we are right now, recording this podcast. Thank you, JP, for letting us use the space.
That's one talented guy, though.
Yeah, JP's
You know,
an actor.
Yeah, he is. He came in on the first day of production. You were there the first day, second day, that first weekend, and oh boy, was it! I don't know if this PG, whatever. It was heck. And
We can swear here.
he waited all day to do one of his scenes, and when it came time for him to perform, like, he went there.
Yeah.
And it was a powerful, like, character in the movie. He went there, and it was just like, you're it. The hair hanging in front of the face, the whole nine. But back to Curveball, all the way in the bigger picture. Thank you. No, really, thank you. But Curveball is a film about a young man in high school who is a star baseball player, and he fights the challenges of addiction. And I had the opportunity, again, to be able to put a little bit of self into it. The son in the movie is my mom in real life, and the mom in the movie is me. And this kid gets addicted to these drugs and it really interferes with what he was doing and what he could have been very successful for. And his mother did whatever she could in order to try to get him away from that and to stay on track. And you see that relationship and that battle throughout the entire movie. And it tears behind my eyes now. And I don't want it to be, because I think I should have been way over this. But ever since I made the movie, my mom has been doing so much better. Very, 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 very good. And she made a trip down here to come see the when we did the screening. Here in Atlanta at Atlantic Station, she came.
Yeah.
My mom hasn't been back to Atlanta in 10 years.
Where does your mom live now?
She lives in Baltimore.
Okay.
And she had a chance to see the work. All right, I'm not going to talk about this too much longer.
Go for it. As much as you want.
But the movie's great. It's going to be really, really good. It's going to be distributed and that kind of stuff. But that movie had so much purpose for me that if that's what it was supposed to be, I'm done. I'm finished. I don't need anybody else to see it. I don't need anybody else to approve it. I don't need anybody else to say that it was good. And it's a good movie. Like, I'm an independent filmmaker, but I'm a good independent filmmaker. And the people who worked on the team were very good.
Yeah.
And we did something very, very good. And I think that project Curveball means so much to every individual on that set. If it was their performance, if it was their set decoration, if it was their script, if it was their producing, it meant so much to them in every single way. We had 5 endangered species show up on our set throughout the filming of the set.
Interesting.
Everybody had a very, very strong purpose on the project. But that's why we do what we do.
Right.
Like, for the people that are listening, like, you have to find purpose in what you're doing. It's not what you're doing, it's why you're doing it.
And you know, something that I thought about this on the way here, because it's something that I've been feeling pretty passionately about too, and you just identified that, is that oftentimes we think that the stories that we're telling are for the masses, but a lot of times that story that we're telling is for us.
Yes.
Self.
It
Yeah.
affects us more than it will ever touch another person.
Yes.
Because and that's enough. Like you said, if that's it,
If that's
it's
it,
enough.
and that's what I think people have to understand about the art. It's not about the fame. It's not about the lights. If you're going to do this for a day or for a year or for 2 years, yeah. Enjoy the lights, enjoy the fame, enjoy the few little bucks you're going to receive.
Well, you may not have fame in a year or 2
But
years.
if you do, and if you
Yeah.
do, a lot of the time that quick fame goes.
Goes.
It comes and it goes.
Yes.
For people like us, we've been working for years. And we'll have our highs, we'll have our lows, we'll have our good days, we'll have our bad days. But at the end of the day, we always have this center of self to move through what we're doing, to understand that we're doing what we love and we have purpose for what we're doing, no matter how bad or how good it gets.
Yeah.
And that's why we do what we do. And if you don't have that type of mentality about what you do in this field, let it be an actor, director, editor, producer, whoever, then I think that you really need to sit back and really understand what your vision actually is.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to be consistent if you can't have that focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that you said that people will resonate with why you do it, and not just what you're doing. And that's true, I think, in many areas of life, that people, and I keep going back to the corporate world, but I do know the corporate world pretty well, and at least as well as I know the acting world. And it's true there as much as it is true in the entertainment industry, that if you're going to make something meaningful that people want to keep coming back to, they buy why you do it. They don't buy meaning either purchase or buy like with their heart believe. They buy into why you do it. And you may not state outright why you're doing it. You told a story from your personal life that meant something a great deal to you. And surely it means a great deal to others watching it because they've been through something similar or they're going through the same thing. So you're helping them in that way, and they are buying into what you're doing because of the purpose behind it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to you for a second.
Okay.
You in this corporate world thing.
I feel like you're wagging your finger at me.
Yeah,
like,
a
why are
little
you
bit.
in the corporate world?
Because
young
I
lady?
think I'm very big on energy and everything, but I feel like you're hard on yourself, and I feel like you're hard on yourself, especially in the corporate world. But I'm going to tell you something. For somebody that has, it doesn't matter. We always look at the arts as the arts. You could be yourself. You can be so free.
Yes.
My dad works in the corporate world. He's a chief financial officer for a company called Hapag-Lloyd's. It's one of the biggest steamship companies in the world. And he is the only black man in the world with that position. But he has a passion for what he does, and he loves it. Yeah. And I feel like you're really, really good at it. Stop hating on the corporate world.
No, maybe I am a little jaded about it. I don't know. I've had so many good experiences and so many bad ones. And maybe the fact that the bad ones are what I think about right now, that's coming through.
Stop.
Yes, sir.
Because you're good at what you do. Like even the emails and what you put together as far as this, the questions, us receiving the questions. We don't, like a lot of artists don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't do that part. We kind of skip that part.
Yeah. That's the action part. That's if you want it to happen, you do the action. And this list of questions I have in front of me, and we haven't stuck to a script, which is not where I want this to go, but I have to know where I'm at least beginning from. And so here it is. And you have to know what to expect and what to expect afterwards. And you cannot accomplish anything, going back to what we said before, without those actions. So yes.
It's hard to be focused on your moment if you're beating yourself up.
Yes.
You're a house divided.
Yes.
So you can't be connecting with another person while you're beating yourself up.
Positive thoughts bring amazing things.
I'm going to bring you to my audition today. Here's my counselor, Sherrie. She's going to... I've talked before.
Coach, counselor, therapist, motivator,
coffee maker.
Exactly.
Back to the coffee.
Whatever I can do.
Okay. Yeah, so a couple more like just general industry questions. I want you actually both to answer the same question. The state of the industry in Atlanta. I hear, from all sources, all around, that the industry just continues to explode here. Tell me what trends you see. Tell me how you think people can get involved, either in acting or directing, producing, where they should start getting involved, and projects that are coming along the pipeline, not necessarily that you're working on, but that are coming to Atlanta that you're excited about.
You want to go first?
I'm passionate about this question. I'm very passionate because I'm indie. Like I don't work for a company. I work for myself. So right now in the Atlanta industry, what I see, and I'm kind of growing on it because I'm receiving a few different opportunities, but we have big shows that come to Atlanta, really, really big shows, and they spend millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, okay?
Yeah.
But when these shows come to our town, they bring the director, they bring the producer, they bring the director of photography, and they bring the main actors. And then they use our tax incentive, hire us as extras and PAs, and then they film, they go. And it's been a thing with me where I feel a certain way about that. You use our tax incentive. I have to have $500,000 in order to use my tax incentive.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. $500,000 is the minimum for the tax incentive here.
Oh, all right.
I don't have $500,000 when I'm working on my indie projects as of right now.
Right.
You would think there would be a few more benefits as far as us indie filmmakers here in Atlanta that want to be and grow big and bring our community to kind of what we're doing. But it's hard when somebody's not going to give you $500,000 to invest in something that they just don't see.
Right.
Like, you give them paper, like, this is a script. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing. But you want $500,000 in order. So we don't have that opportunity. But what I do see is I see a lot more of the actors, a lot more of the editors, and everybody really digging into the training and really digging to the knowledge. Because I think that's something that we lack here in Atlanta when we're playing with the big boys. When the big boys come over here and they don't hire us as actors or directors, it's because we have that lack of knowledge. But I think that's starting to click here in Atlanta. And people are starting to go out there and get the training. So when the people from LA get here, they're like, you know a little bit more than what you,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And we're starting to take those steps into fulfilling those bigger things. But that's kind of like my feel about it. But I'm so excited to see new studios go up. I'm so excited to see the acting classes growing. I'm so excited to see so many young, inspiring actors, directors, producers. Like, it's exciting. The development around Atlanta is just amazing. And not even in Atlanta, but when you go down to Pinewood Studios, there are grocery stores and gas stations because of productions that have been done here in Atlanta.
Don't they have their own Home Depot? Is
Yeah,
that what
they
I
do.
heard?
They
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And then
Dedicated to Pinewood.
Right.
TP's looking at buying Fort McPherson.
Yeah.
And that's a whole story. But there's also going to be a Home Depot there. You know, it's like the things that this industry is bringing to Atlanta and its community is an amazing thing. And it's still in infancy. And I think we've been running for about 15 years now here in Atlanta, where with the films are here and us doing production and that kind of thing, where it's like that. They've been doing it longer, but for us to really get a grasp and open up our studios and that type of thing, it's been going about that long.
Right.
A little off, but it's still a baby.
Yeah.
You know, and we're fighting against Hollywood that has hundreds of years of experience. Where are you originally from?
Greenville, South Carolina.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I used to teach out there also. But I like where it is. I do. I just have that little, if Hollywood, if you're going to come over to my house, like, at least invite me to eat my own food.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can't argue with that. So what's to be done? I mean, I know what you're doing.
that's what's
That's
to be done.
what's to be done. Yeah.
Doing stuff like what she's doing,
Yeah.
creating theaters, creating acting studios, making opportunities for people to work, hiring your friends and not necessarily a person out of LA to come to Atlanta to work.
Right.
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 It is about relationships, and and just a tag team there is that, you know, at least now today, this moment, LA is still the mothership. It is the nucleus, okay, but that radius is getting much wider. And the thing that I think it's important to really recognize and set our minds to is that let's join arms, join forces, and not be against one another. It's not LA versus Atlanta.
Right.
Because there has been, I mean, I've fallen prey to that, you know.
Me too.
I have really felt like,
Me too.
what are you people doing? You're
Right.
invading.
Yes.
But let's just, but, you know,
Invasion of-
yeah.
Yes.
And I think that it's just, that can go to an unhealthy place.
Yes.
And the enemy of our creative minds is that bitterness and that jadedness, and it just it cripples us. So just look at, like, hey, it's a good time to be an actor, a creative person in Atlanta. It's
really
a good
is.
time.
It is a good time.
And let me learn from these people, and let me serve these people, and let me link arms with them. And you know, I have found that the hardest of people can be softened when they feel that you're coming to them genuinely with authenticity, with a desire to serve them and to help them and to just be a part of what they are doing. Because if they sense that competitive energy coming in their space, they're going to throw up walls.
Yes.
And that, I think, has kept you know, the us and them mentality a lot. And so I think that if we can just say, you know, we are all in this together. It's not about...
Let's work it out.
But yeah, let's tell
Yes.
stories. You know, let me help you. I was a wardrobe. I was a costumer for 2.5 years on the big feature films when they started rolling in, because I had established a production company. I was working as a producer. I was producing content, documentaries, commercials, feature films, and all of a sudden Hollywood arrived, and I was really a small fish all of a sudden, and so you know what, I said, I got to still be a part of this.
Yeah.
Got to be a part of it. So I went to work on, major sets, met great people.
Relationships.
And it's relationships. And you're not going to build those relationships if you're sitting there pouting in your corner like,
Right.
well, all of them have jobs and they took them away from us. Well, that might be true in some cases, but all the more reason to go make it on your
happen.
own.
Right.
Make it on
To
your
go
own.
own.
Don't sit there feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
And waiting for the opportunity.
Do
Make
what
the
you can
opportunity.
do.
Yeah.
Do whatever you can do. And you know what? Your gifts will make room for you. Follow your bliss and things will open to you, because people are attracted to when they see a person that's just joyful and happy and doing what they love, and not heavy with the desire, to compete and envy and jealousy and all that stuff. Just love being you. You are enough, and do whatever you can to create beautiful stories.
And that, we may have answered our audience question already, but I'll ask it, I'll read it anyway, because you may want to add some additional commentary on top of what you've just said. So this is a question from Rod. He says, be honest. How much of being successful is blind luck, being in the right place at the right time? And I want to actually just start with my own thought. I do think there is an element of being in the right place at the right time. And for everything. I do think there's an element of that. But his question more is, how much
Luck.
success is just happening to be in the right place at the right time versus what you're all talking about, going and making it happen.
I think one of the things that I would need to know is the definition of what he feels success is. Because success is a broad spectrum. I mean, I may not have said this at every stage of my life, but it's where I'm at today. Success to me is just to be working in this field and to enjoy. I mean, do I have dreams of awesome, life-changing content that the world will see and be changed by? I mean, yeah, I do. And that's what I'm going after. But it is my success ultimately to just be working in this industry, because there are hundreds and thousands of people who aren't, that want to be.
Yeah.
And so have I been fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time? Yes, in many circumstances I have. And a lot of those things came, like the story that I shared earlier, when I was just in a room with people that I otherwise would have never crossed paths with, and because I was in a moment able to give my card to someone and not say something self-centered.
Right.
Right. Hey,
I'm a great actress,
Hey, look
hire
at me. I could be your next lead. That's the kind of thing that leads to success. I just want to encourage people to be humble.
Yeah.
Be willing. Just and be realistic. We all start somewhere. Success is about working. For me.
Yeah.
Can I hear the question one more time,
Sure.
please? Because that was great, and I
Yeah.
love what you said. I'm not going to say the same thing. I'm just kidding.
So, question from Rod. Be honest. How much of being successful is blind luck, being in the right place at the right time?
First of all, luck only happens to people that have positive thoughts. You could only attract something good if you believe that it could happen. Luck is a thing where people say it to me all the time, because I'm young and I've accomplished a lot. Like we didn't dig into that, and I don't want to. I'm over that. But the reason why those things have happened is because of this: my mind, my thoughts, and what I want to come into creation. we could talk about the actor, we can talk about the producer, we can talk about the director. But all in all, let's just talk about self and what your overall, what you want to do. Meet all the people in the world, stuff still may not happen. You can be given all the cameras in the world, you still can't film. You may be given all the materials, you still can't build your house. It's because your thought process won't let you accomplish that. But if you can just vision, and I said it from the beginning, if you can see it happening, and then you put the positive thoughts and positive actions into it, it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And the next thing you know, somebody's going to call you lucky for it. But it's not. You have to take that action. Mm-hmm. And you have to feel good about it. And if you're not feeling good about it, and you're kind of doubting yourself, that's what you're going to end up being. Mm-hmm. You are what you perceive yourself to be. Period. If you think that you're an actor that's trying to make it, you're going to try to make it for the next 10, 20 years as long as you try. But if you are an actor that is making it happen, mm-hmm. then that's what you are. Mm-hmm. You are the perception of yourself. No such thing as luck. There's no such thing as what's the answer to being successful. Mm-hmm. It's about having that ultimate vision of what you want to do, seeing it clearly right here and putting those actions and thoughts into it. And it has to be positive mm-hmm. in order for it to be a successful story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the reasons we are resistant to change and to turning the negative thoughts into a more positive approach is that we are invested in how we see ourselves. So, earlier you said I'm hard on myself. Well,
you know that you're hard on yourself.
Yes, I do, but yes.
So that's what you are.
But I have a certain amount of, attachment to that view of who I am. Just it's human nature. We all do. It's not specific to me, but I'm using myself as an example that we are attached to who we perceive ourselves to be. And to venture outside of that is a big psychological leap. Yes, it is.
One common thing that I know you've said before in your classes is you must be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah. And if you are comfortable, you are content. If you are content, that means you have everything that you want. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, make yourself uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, I was uncomfortable coming here today. I don't know. I didn't know you were. Honestly, I'm going to say something. I thought you were black. I'll be honest. Like, Pamela, okay, cool.
My picture's up on the Facebook
page.
Man,
I'm working so much, I was not able to go back and do all of that. I received this email, know what I was coming into, and I was uncomfortable. I didn't know.
Well, I did work through your assistant to get you here for the most part.
Yes.
So there was that layer of
separation. So I had no clue.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter to me. Yeah. It doesn't matter. But I was uncomfortable. But now that I'm here, I feel, all right, I'm still uncomfortable a little bit. And it has nothing to do with skin color at all. Nothing at all. But it's something that's going to help me grow. It's something that I've asked for ultimately, and it's preparing me for the next day.
So what about being here? I'm just curious, and if you don't want me to include this in the final edit, I will not. But I'm just curious.
Include it. I don't care.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
What makes me uncomfortable about being here? This lady right here is very established.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time when I sit at tables, I'm always the youngest man at the table. I'm always the youngest person. This has always been like this ever since I was 17, 18 years old. Mm-hmm. And it's still something that is in my perception of self, where I'm the youngest person in the room, and I may not be able to live up to what somebody else has done. Mm-hmm. But I respect everything that she's done. I've learned a lot today from just listening to her speak.
I learned from you.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. I really do.
And I think age is a number.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
You've done things that I've never done and experienced things I never will. And so it's relative. And we're just people.
Thank you.
And
I needed that.
Yeah, you're my colleague.
Nice. Yes. Yeah. Yes. But that's the uncomfortable. It's something that I feel uncomfortable about when I do. But see, again, before you get on stage, and we'll use it like that, it's the fear that makes your performance good.
Yeah.
It's the
kind of
unnaturalness feeling that drives you to have a great performance. So it's like if I'm not feeling uncomfortable and I feel comfortable, I feel a little bit uncomfortable. Okay. Then I'm comfortable.
Well, if I have you on the show again, since you've already met me once and hopefully you'll be more comfortable with me, what can I do to make you uncomfortable?
No! Oh, to make me uncomfortable. Just don't tell me who I'm comfortable. Just don't tell me who I'm going to be in the room with. Just tell me.
So I wanted to ask you both, because you both established production companies. And really, yes, this is just for my own edification, because I'm looking at doing original work as well. how do you how do you create a production company? Like, what are the steps that you go through? Do you have to do anything legally? Do you have to, like, incorporate? Do you have to file anything?
I'm an LLC.
Yeah, that's the verbiage. LLCs. Get your LLC.
Limited liability corporation. Yes. It's the best way it was the best way for me. You may find as you investigate other angles. I don't think incorporating is not the thing to do. Yeah.
You know, when you get into it, like for real, you end up having a production company. But when your projects get to a certain level, you end up creating companies for that project. When you talk about bigger projects, so your liability is only in certain areas.
So your LLC is more of an umbrella company.
Yes.
And then each project will have its. Do you do a DBA for each project?
Yeah. Well, it's just another LLC.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's just another LLC
underneath the.
So it's a subdivision. It's a division of the.
Yes.
Okay. So what about funding? How do you go about getting funding if you're just getting started?
You start with friends and family.
Are you looking to invest?
You looking to invest?
Right. And sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. You just do it. Like, here goes my phone. Go do it.
Yeah.
Like right now, I have a microphone in my bag that can connect to my phone with a splitter and with headphones on, and I can record something. Hey, let's do a documentary style.
Cool.
Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like.
I agree with that. I think the very best way to start any kind of production company is let your first investment be in your own equipment. And I didn't actually do it that way. Because there was a time where, truth be known, had I to do over again, I would have bought myself an amazing camera, and I would just still today be shooting on that camera and have added other cameras to my repertoire of cameras, but instead I put a lot of my money into producing the content, and then when it's done, and whether or not it has a shelf life or not, that money is gone. And so, take whatever money you start with, invest in good equipment, because you can keep telling stories with that equipment.
You keep going.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna give you money for real money to shoot a production, and you have no experience. So really getting out there and just kind of, like you said, invest in some stuff that will invest in you.
Yeah.
And get that camera, get that microphone, get those couple of lights. Let's think of an idea where we can film at one location for a few days, and we can come up with a 30-minute to an hour show. We can cut it together for $500 total, and we are able to pitch it to somebody.
I totally agree with that. I told somebody just yesterday, I said, you want to produce your own content? Find a location that is accessible to you. Create a scenario in that location, and then start writing. Because that is the best way to do your own content. Because if you come up with an amazing idea, then you get bogged down trying to find the perfect location.
You mean I can't get a helicopter?
Yeah.
I need a guy shooting from a helicopter.
I need some cars. Come on.
Right.
Start this. Yes. Yeah. No. You gotta start simple. And you know what? We're not doing Star Wars here, people. You know, people. You want to show somebody your work to be able to get funding for Star Wars.
Right.
You have to show your ability to conceptualize, something through that lens
and get it done.
Yeah.
Because you could start something. Everybody started something, but getting her done.
Yeah.
Getting her done is the problem.
Yeah.
But if they see you can get something done, they're willing to invest within you. You know, I'm dealing with that situation now. Just growing in the industry, I mean, these people, and they're like, oh, this little man has it. I'm like, yeah, I do. But it's like, yeah, so what have you done? And that's the thing. What have you done?
Right.
Now, what are you working on?
Right.
What have you done?
That's
what have you
to show
finished?
for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much.
No, thank you, and thank you. Like,
thank
can we
you.
hug?
Yeah.
I just want a hug. Oh my God. I love
Can't get this on the podcast,
Hey,
but we're hugging now.
Before we sign off on episode 10 of Call Time Atlanta, is there anything else you want to add that I didn't cover? Just add whatever.
You let me say what I wanted to say. Clear vision, positive thoughts, positive actions
Good.
brings you an amazing world.
All right.
And I'll just say, stop judging yourself. Give grace to yourself. Pamela and
You were looking at me when you said that.
And everyone, just go create. Just go make something and tell a story.
I love it. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for helping to reboot Call Time Atlanta.
Yay! Thank you
for having us. See you guys next time. Woo! Good.